IVM.
Hi everybody, just wanted to ask everyone for a quick favor. We're running a brand survey right now and would really appreciate it if you could let us know what you think about the advertising on IVM. Go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and do let us know. As part of this, we'll be selecting 10 random participants and sending them some IVM swag, so do fill out those surveys.
All right. I shall not ask.
Can I be like that movie Frank? You know that movie?
Yeah.
Where Michael Fassbender, no face.
Yeah. But yeah, so what's up? How have you been?
I've been 37 for a week now.
What does it feel like?
There is an instant change. You know, sometimes because it's so stupid to think, oh, your birthday happens and you change on that
Suddenly,
day.
yeah. So what changed?
But a sense of ease. Like, and I'll tell
Which
you why.
wasn't there before?
No, I'm constantly anxious and neurotic and everything, all those things.
Okay.
But I've been talking about how I've been doing this keto. And the more I live a carb-free life, the more I'm realizing how not depressed I am. Or when I think about how I was very depressed or anxious, I don't want to talk in past tense, God forbid, because every time I think it's gone away, it comes back 10 times worse. But I have to say now when I think of myself feeling very anxious all the time, it seems alien to me. Like, and I've been doing this diligently, as in I fucked up when I was in Delhi. But like, apart from that 1 week, I've been zero carbs, and I actually feel great.
I feel the same having cut out meat, like as much as I have.
Way. Yeah, a lot of people say that too. If like I cut out meat, then I literally will just be satyagraha, dandi march, the fasting. Because the keto is a lot of meat. So
I mean, you know, I took dad for a quick trip and like, it's not like we went far away. We went to Karjat, but then, and 2 of those 4 days, so it was this farmhouse where they give you like farm to table sort of very, very organic sort of a thing. So 2 of those 4 days, dad had like a vegetarian thing and their portions were like massive. So as a result, I would just ask him what you want, just you order what you want. I don't want to order anything above and beyond. So he's come to a point in life. I mean, he's nearing 70. So he just prefers vegetarian when he does. So I ended up having vegetarian food every single day. And this is like my first vacation, my first break since 2019, like, you know, 2019. Yeah. So I was like, I'm not even missing it. Like, I'm absolutely fine. So yeah, like I feel better.
Yeah. In fact, I'll tell you what, every time I do, like, let's say, so it was my birthday and I had a little thing at my house and obviously like this biryani and stuff. And I'd be living carb free. And then one day I was like, okay, today's my birthday. Let me eat some biryani. I love biryani, Sunetro. I cannot tell you how much. There's few things I love in life as much as I love biryani now. I felt so sick, like sick as in not, diarrhea, food poisoning, sick. But I just felt like I could feel the rice break down in my stomach. So I know on some level, like it's good that I fail because it gives me a reminder of how these carbs are making me feel all the time, like bloated. Again, I know me, when I get onto a new trend, I'm all like, oh, amazing. And then I might like not be on that trend anymore once it gets old.
Yeah.
But right now, it's kind of a revelation to me that, holy shit, just cutting out like refined flour out of my life. I'm genuinely and that's the thing, I've been presented with like stressful situations. And my response to that is constantly surprising me. Instead of immediately getting into that bloated, ugly, fatty, lazy kind of response, I'm just like, okay, I can do this.
Maybe it's also, I mean, I was watching this interview of Jamila Jamil with like a nutritionist, and with a lot of the, you know, the diet changes, very often it's also psychosomatic because of course, there is a very natural, you know, if you cut out carbs, of course, there's good stuff that's happening to your body. But then at the same time, what your mind is also sort of, you know, getting accustomed to is this idea of a new start, which is why you feel so good when you move to a new house. You feel so good when you move to a new city. So it's also that. And it's like a mix of all these things that create that sense of, yes, things are fine. It's good.
And because we've literally come from a 2-year pandemic, where repetition was such a big part of our lives where every day. So just a sudden shift also. And I'm doing the double whammy. So I'm doing keto and intermittent fasting because, like I said, I'm pre-diabetic. So if I want to reverse it, I have to fast. And basically, fasting also repeatedly, if you read up the literature and all about it, once you reach a certain point of fasting, you do suddenly get hyper alert and focused because survival, they call it survival.
Yeah, exactly. All the stored glucose starts breaking down.
It's just like a lot of times, we live life thinking, I'm not like what I used to be before. I'm not as upbeat as before. I'm not as this. I'm literally surprised by how I'm constantly upbeat and like all the time. So that's happening. That's how I'm doing. I also have realized, Sunetro, whenever we start the podcast, you ask me how I'm doing, but I never ask you how you are doing.
Yes, congrats.
Sunetro.
Yeah.
Sunetro, how are you doing? Tell me.
I'm doing fine. Like I said, it was a very, very much needed departure from the 2-year-long routine.
Did your dad say anything stupid?
No. In fact, this place is my recommendation for today. So I'm not going to talk about it too much now. But just the fact that not Karja. Like, okay. I'm not going to recommend a city or a district.
Okay.
Like, I'm not going to recommend Mumbai.
Okay.
It's a lovely sort of property that I went to, and anyone who has dogs should totally go there. But like, I'll come to the details later. But just 4 days of being surrounded by nature, like greens, like you wake up to greens. When you like post 6:30, there's just pin drop silence.
Love it.
It's like unnerving in the beginning, and then you sort of get used to it, to the point that I booked myself another few days during Diwali, just me and my dog, so that she can be away from all the pataka noise and all of that. So it was good. It felt good. Like and it was a good 4 days.
Yeah.
Because you know what happens at 2 days is you just feel like, thoda din aur, like 1 day more. 4 days was perfect. And then by the time I got back, it felt good to be back and in my familiar surroundings. So yeah.
Can I quickly tell you a funny story? This was in the mid-90s. My mom was complaining that constantly to my father. She was giving him grief. You never take us on a holiday. You never this. We never go anywhere as a family and all of that. So one day my dad comes home and he's like, hey, we are going on a holiday. And my mom said, where? And he said, Ganpati Phule, if you've been. It's a beautiful place.
It's a lovely place, yeah.
It's lovely, but my dad booked a 14-day holiday to Ganpati Phule.
Oh my God. There's nothing to do.
Ganpati Phule, you can walk all of Ganpati Phule in half a day.
Yeah.
Like if you sprint walk.
Yes,
all of it. So my mom was also like, what the fuck are we going to do? But my dad had some idea like, oh no, Kolhapur, no, Ratnagiri is close by. We'll go to Ratnagiri, which is so random, right? What are you going to do at Ratnagiri? But still, we went for this. And you won't believe it. What made it worse was apparently in the history of Ganpati Phule, there was a crab infestation on the beach. Like basically, sometimes, some animals end up giving too many eggs.
Yeah.
And that year was the highest that Ganpati Phule had ever seen. So if you're brushing your teeth and you look down, there are crabs coming out of the kitchen sink.
What the
if you wear your shoes, you have to first jhatak your shoes because crabs will fall out. There were that many those chotu white crabs on the beach. They were everywhere. Dude, in 4 days, my mom screamed. So when you said right now, 2 days is too less, 4 days, I was like, how's 14 days? Oh, Ganpati Phule.
Yeah. I realized that I can't do vacations beyond 10 days. Like it feels, no matter what amazing place it is.
Yeah.
I need to feel like I'm home after that.
Bed. My bed, my commode. Ma rules, ma bed, ma commode.
Yeah, ma jet spray.
Ma jet spray. Oh my God.
Yeah, anyway. We have digressed a lot. Why don't we get into our first segment, which is the news. What's in the news?
I'm just fuck China. Let's start there. Fuck China.
Especially for a video game enthusiast like
you. Can that get you killed though? I just realized after saying fuck China that hey, never say that. Don't say fuck China. That's a horror. You can say fuck
China.
Colombia or fuck Fiji. Because I know no one will come looking for me. But fuck China, I'm worried.
They heard you.
And I said it 5-6 times now.
Yeah, I can see the red spot on your forehead.
Oh my God. Wow. China banned a very stupid thing actually that no, video games can't have same-sex relationships. And that really infuriated me way more than it should have.
First and foremost, it's video games. So, like, what are you trying to prove by doing this in video games where it's all make-believe? Hello, what the fuck?
No, but I'll tell you why. I really was like, why am I so affected by this piece of news? Because the thing is, the last 3 games I've really deeply loved, like my all-time favorite games list, they all had same-sex relationships. Like video game, the industry is entirely, a lot of it's becoming a norm. Like every HBO show, like even video games have realized that, hey, there has to be like some representation at least. And I don't know, whoever's listening, if you all have played Last of Us 2, one of the most popular games, franchises, it had the most beautiful, like, lesbian angle in it and like storyline in it. And like, because I'll tell you what happens a lot of times, people don't realize that when you play video games, it's way more immersive because you are actually, in whatever sense, controlling yourself in the game. So
it's like an extended form of like real life role play.
So for example, me and you love horror movies, right? We love horror films. But when you play a horror video game and it's effective, it's way more anxiety inducing.
Yeah, because
you are being chased.
You're not passive. Yeah, you're not a passive observer.
I'm not trying to sell VR or something like how real these games are. But because you are in control in these things, it kind of affects you, which is why I felt like I was so affected by this. Because again, when I played Last of Us 2, it's the most vested I have been in a lesbian relationship in my life ever because I was one of the lesbians in the game.
Are you looking forward to the HBO? It's going to be a show.
They've been, honestly, this conversation has been going around since Last of Us 1. So now when they just put it out, I'll be happy. Whatever they give me.
I mean, it's supposed to be a very good team, and Pedro Pascal is playing the father. So
I cannot wait, honestly. It's just, also I feel some odd comfort. Tell me if you feel it too, but shows have a very little wriggle room to be fuck all nowadays. Like all shows,
I agree. Movies can be fuck all. Yeah. Like I think the quality of television has seen such a huge upsurge that I feel like it's almost making cinema redundant in a way. Like
honestly, I did have this conversation with someone recently, and he told me why that is happening. He's like, because now everything's moved to streaming and online. So earlier, you had such set dates for a movie to get released by because you book your maternity, I'm saying, matinee or whatever, your halls and your which cinema halls and everything. So it had to be. So if you did not edit a movie well enough,
you lose the money.
Yeah, you'd lose that money. So which is why a lot of times you would get half-baked, unbaked shit. But now they have time to breathe before like putting out something, which is why so many shows even get posted. Like, I love even Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is coming back. 2-year break, 3-year break. Shows are taking that kind of this, and I love it.
Yeah.
In fact. Fuck China.
On the good side of news, there is of course the ban of conversion therapy, but in France, I mean, it's nice to see other countries doing shit. I don't know when India will see any. I mean, we've had some good news from India, but like it's a little disingenuous.
India, I feel like anything, even after it becomes a law, it takes another century at least
to even see any movement.
No,
True.
Because everything that has been banned today, if you think about like tantric, like whatever, like black magic and superstitious, even that's illegal in a lot of ways. But I still keep seeing it on the news, and I'm like, what? People still do this? Which is why when I hear when I read this news about France and the ban on conversion therapy, I think about, so wait, if before this ban, if someone was, hi Gaga, little Dungan. I just think like it sounds so archaic, but like in India, it's just even more so for some odd reason. Anything.
Yeah. All right. So that's the news for today. We'll be back after a quick break, and we'll start talking about the topic for today, which we are both very excited about.
Let's do it.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Paisa Vaisa, we have a midweek special. Anupam is joined by Chintan Haria, Head of Product Development and Strategy at ICICI Prudential AMC. They talk about the ICICI Prudential NASDAQ 100 Index Fund. What's it like to be a woman in the city? Find out on The Filter Coffee, where Vedashi Kambete Sharma talks to Karthik about her new book, Fatal Mistakes. On Audio Gyan, Shreya Satish, founder and CEO of OwnPath, talks to Kedar and Abhineet about how OwnPath was created to help professionals grow in their career through lifelong learning and professional networks. On The Longest Constitution, Priya explains how bar dancers are barred from dancing due to an arbitrary moral distinction in the name of public morality. And on Agla Station Adulthood, Ritasha and Ayushi discuss the hazards of chaos and the importance of appreciating silence. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our others for that matter, please do tell a friend. We really appreciate you spreading this. Word of mouth helps a lot. And finally, this week, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Cred, Bank of Baroda, Quarter, CoinSwitch, Kuber, Slay Coffee, and Intel. We really appreciate the support.
All right. So I'll tell you where I got the idea. I mean, there's so much chatter about Lil'Nas X. I mean, it's fantastic what this boy is doing. Primarily because I don't think 3 to 4 years ago, I couldn't have thought that Lil'Nas X would exist. He shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just the Venn diagram of all the things he represents coming true and being successful and being out there, it shouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
But it is. And the kind of surge of popularity is amazing. So I thought, why don't we talk about queer pop culture icons over the years? You know, some obscure,
Where
some popular.
do we begin?
Yeah, some obscure, some popular.
Although, can I start with an unpopular opinion?
Yeah.
I love visually everything Lil'Nas is doing, and I myself have felt what you just said, which is I listen to fuck tons of music, and when black artists started coming out as bi and gay, I was like, this would never have happened in the 90s, especially in rap.
Yeah.
Like in rap, and now black artists are like vocal, black men at least are like vocal, and I was like, wow, I cannot believe. But then Lil'Nas came around and he floodgates open, like black pregnant man in jail, like bring it on, all of it. I love it. Although the unpopular opinion part is that I actually find the music and the album very average, like to the point that I find the songs almost borderline irritating.
No, I mean, I like Montero. I don't like too much of his other music.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not my taste, but I can't deny. Like, I love Adam Lambert. But a lot of people don't like, that kind of glam rock sort of sound. To each their own. But then it's amazing what's happened with him.
Which is I started with visually. It's there. It's here. It's not even there. It's here because I see it and I'm like, this is amazing. Like, it's just so. And he derives so much like pop culture this from other like artists and like especially his visual styles and design and all of that. So I was like, amazing. This is amazing that this is happening. I just wish I liked the songs as much, as popular as they are.
Yeah. So I mean,
no, Sunetro, start with number one. Come on. This is not a countdown.
So here's the thing. My number one queer pop culture icon isn't a very popular person, but I've followed this person since I started to know about cinema. It's this director. I've spoken about him before. It's this director called Derek Charman, whose body of work. He was a British director at the forefront of the queer cinema movement. And he basically, like, Tilda Swinton exists because of him.
Okay.
He sort of picked her up.
He's her father? Like
no, he basically gave her the first opportunities in his film, and he was a visual artist, and his visualization came from the fact that he was a set director to art director too. So every single thing that he did was very against the grain and very visually against the grain. So he's made films like Caravaggio, and he's brought out the queerness of Caravaggio. He's made amazing films about Saint Sebastian, the queer icon. I mean, if you read about it, you'll know where there are nude scenes, but very artfully done. And every single thing that he's done, it's inspired by some kind of, the homoeroticism of Renaissance art and chiaroscuro of, Caravaggio paintings and stuff like that. And he's also taken Shakespeare and queered it up. So, and another little bit of nugget, my Instagram sort of, name is Glitterbugged. His last film, because he was going blind, was a glitter bug. And it was basically this film about, so because he couldn't see, he turned it, that film is basically poetry over a blue screen. And
not the film, but the idea is so terrifying.
Yeah. Like, so basically what he did with his like swan song was he basically showed people what he's trying to visualize through his words, and basically took people on the same journey because he couldn't see, he didn't want his audience to see. And that was the experience. And for me, that was such a strong, it left such a strong impression on me, and his work left such a strong impression on me. And this was like Thatcherian England, where he was out proud, and using his art to kind of make a statement. So if there's one person, the feet under whose ground I worship, it's Derek Jarman. Yeah.
Wow.
Who's yours?
It's funny, I'm about to say the most cliched one. And the funny thing is, I, as an adult, think she's a pop culture icon. But I'm going to say Madonna. Madonna. And I'll tell you why.
I agree, yeah. I mean, see, there is a lot of controversial opinions about her. Anyway, go on.
No, the thing is, why I consider this is because in 2021, if you see some Madonna interviews from the 80s and 90s, she was there. She was there for us. She was doing it.
Yeah.
Expression. Mainly, she gave us a fucking dance style. You know what I mean?
No, sorry, she didn't give us a style. But that's where the controversy lies.
She put it.
A white woman appropriating black culture.
I know what you mean. I'm talking about when you see the third season of Pose, or second season of Pose, which was what I'm talking about. The fact that how she tried to put it on the map, at least. I don't want to give her credit or whatever. Course, but the way,
no doubt about that.
That and. You know, I remember, I'll tell you a very specific moment. This is when, before your Amazons and everything in the early 2000s, there used to be some eBay type Indian site. I forget the name also now. But there was it had like a sort of XXX VCD section where you could buy VCDs. And I remember there being this film called In Bed with Madonna. And because back then, again, when you're growing up, even XXX is like, wow, dirty CD, dirty movie. I thought it's like, and it was touted as like very controversial and all of that. So I had bought it without Google reviews. So I just knew that Madonna was like back in the 80s and 90s, a lot of people looked down, especially in pop culture, like not pop culture, but in the media. Like Madonna was like viewed as this hypersexual, spoiling today's youth, like Marilyn Manson, basically, you know, like ruining our kids kind of. She had this idea. And then I saw In Bed with Madonna and I was so confused because for the first time I saw two men kiss. And I saw how open, in fact, I very specifically even remember this picture they show In Bed with Madonna where she's rimming a man. Have you seen this picture? Mm-hmm. Like Madonna's face is buried in these two giant man's ass cheeks, like, you know. And I was like, okay, late 80s, she's rimming a man. There's a picture of it, and she put this out in the 80s, and that is so. And now a lot of times when you follow a lot of these retro and vintage pages on Instagram, sometimes we come across Madonna interviews and the kind of things she said for our community, in support of our community, and kind of questioning the overall hate or homophobia or everything about even Catholicism against homophobia and everything. She like took it head on.
Yeah.
And now why I'm saying that in 2021, I feel like, okay, she deserves to be, because when I see, and I'm going to get so much hate for this, but today's pop stars, when I see them, I find it like, this is a little, obviously you're trying to capture an audience with this music of yours.
The queer baiting is what you're talking
about. Back then,
but who specifically?
That's the part you're going to get me killed. Before China, the gays will kill me too. If I say it. No, but okay, I'll take a safe name. Katy Perry is a good example.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
Katy Perry, problematic in so many ways. And sometimes I feel Demi Lovato does that. You know, where it's like, coming out and these are my pronouns, and I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Yeah. But something feels disingenuous
when you
there.
see Madonna,
Yeah.
Madonna, her experience was her life back then. Her art was her experience. She was exploring her life, her sexuality, and she translated that into her music, which is timeless. We still dance to like Vogue, everything.
Yeah.
So I just felt like she was right now in an age where pop stars are trying to be at the right place at the right time, saying the right message just for like to trick algorithms into thinking they are woke.
True.
I feel Madonna was unabashedly just living her life and asking the question.
She had a lot to lose. A lot to lose.
Yeah, but
that's the thing.
Also, I think a lot because when you see documentaries about Madonna, sometimes it's the synergy of the rise of MTV and Madonna. And, a lot of pop stars back then, because MTV was, we will show you Marilyn Manson, we'll show you Michael Jackson, Prodigy, you name it. So what society viewed as problematic put them on the map. And I felt like in terms of sexuality, Madonna takes the cake from back then. And I totally, even though I'd not liked the second season of Pose, I love the homage it kind of pays to Madonna throughout the season, because it's deserved. Nowadays, I really feel like I see a lot of ships and a lot of stands for a lot of pop stars. Like you have your Swifties and you have your Lovatos and you have all of them. And I'm like, these women are doing nothing apart from writing good lyrics, which a lot of them are not writing. Even like you have like 10 people trying to produce one song and they're putting it out there. Even so much so that if you hear a whereas pussy and you hear these things, I feel like these are easy to pander to an audience today, even though that might not be their intention. But when you rewind to Madonna's videos and you see what she was doing in the 80s and 90s.
Also with her entourage, I don't know whether you've seen this documentary called Strike a Pose. It's about the dance troupe that was that saw her through like decades. All of them were from the queer community.
Sure.
And so there's so much insight on her view on how she viewed the queer community as her own.
Sure.
And always made sure that, they were protected and stuff like that. While she was a shrewd businesswoman and whatnot. But there's a lot of insight on that too. So it's amazing.
And it's funny when you said the other day, let's talk about this particular topic. Your Years and Years came out with a new song with Kylie Minogue.
Yeah. Oh.
And exactly, right? But see, Kylie Minogue, through her music, kind of communicates with us without it being. There's no measure again to count how Kylie Minogue's music is gay.
Don't talk about her because she's my next. Yeah.
No, but that's what I'm getting at. Where Kylie Minogue also is such a diva and a true icon is because her music made you feel the things that you were constantly taught to suppress, right?
Yeah.
But coming back to Madonna around the same time and everything, Madonna is asking the questions. And especially I keep talking about these interviews, but just look at any interview from the 80s or 90s where Madonna questions society's oppression of sexuality in every possible way at every step of the way.
Like what I said about Lil'Nas X, in 2021, he shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I were alive that time, I would have said Madonna shouldn't exist. A woman in the 80s being so forward, being so challenging and rebellious shouldn't exist.
Yeah. Papa don't preach. Unplanned pregnancy, straight up. Like, bring it on. Like, amazing. Amazing. I'm going to just obviously bring up Madonna, even though I have to say I love Madonna. I'm actually a more Madonna music fan after the 90s. I loved her little cameos, your Austin Powers song, Beautiful Stranger. I loved Hung Up, all her later on stuff. So I never was like, wow, Madonna music, I'm down for it. I knew the Vogue and I knew Borderline and all of that.
Yeah.
In fact, I have a little funny the new revamped Will & Grace.
Yeah.
They played Borderline in the news, this Will & Grace, and I had actually never heard that song. And when I was like, this song is so cool, let me look it up. And then I found out it's a Madonna song.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
So I liked certain songs before.
The popular hit. Yeah.
So the first album that I truly, truly embraced was Ray of Light.
Yeah.
Because that was that had that ambient electronica sort of
Sure.
vibe and
Tarsem
frozen.
Singh. Yeah.
Tarsem frozen. Fuck. So that's when I got in sync with the Madonna music, and then of course the next few albums were great until like the Madam X versions, which I personally don't love.
I liked all of them.
But Confessions on the Dance Floor, what a masterpiece! But yeah, those I think 10, 13 years, that phase is my favorite Madonna phase.
Yeah. Madonna, easily. Top of the list, Kylie Minogue, soft shout out. Unless you want to talk about Kylie Minogue.
Yes. So here's the thing. Kylie Minogue, this is me growing up in Ranchi. No one had ever heard of Kylie Minogue. No one. No fucking one. The reason I knew of Kylie Minogue was there used to be the Billboard charts at 9 p.m. on a Saturday. So when she released Can't Get You Out of My Head, that topped the charts for like weeks and weeks at end. And that song did something to me.
It was so good.
That song did something to me. And
still such a banger.
Such a banger. And this is also the time when I was in my first like relationship. So I bought the cassette. I saved up money. I bought the cassette. And I remember on the B side of that cassette, there were these really mellifluous, like really down-tempo songs, which we would make out to. And I never pegged Kylie Minogue.
What did you do the first half?
Oh, danced.
The action wasn't very dancey.
So here's the thing. I never pegged her as a queer icon because I didn't know about her until I came to know later that, she's like this dance pop diva who the queers worship. And then I realized, wow, this sound feels gay. Feels so gay. And I love it because it feels so gay. It's like the sound of brethren.
It's like subliminal messaging.
Yes.
Right? Because like you said, I'm so glad you said it. Even for me, once I started adding gay friends to my life, like otherwise I was just like fucking around. But once I started adding gay friends, I was like, wow, my friends who've like come out in the 90s or 80s and are like, they all have been on the Kylie Minogue train early on, So I was like, okay. That's why I used to enjoy her music so much back then. It was subliminal.
To the point that even the latest album she's released, I absolutely
I haven't heard
love
it.
So there's this one song called Say Something. If you don't like it, please tell me. Like, I can't think of someone. If you like, that down-tempo disco sort of, vibe, it's like Disco Redux, but like done in a chill way, done in a pandemic chill way.
I love the description.
Yeah. So it's, I absolutely love, and the more I came to know about her, the more I got to know about her, saw her interviews, the more I fell in love with her. And also, I mean, she's been so pro queer rights, like she's been the Grand Marshal for years and years and years. And so the more I discovered Kylie Minogue, the more I felt like, yes, this is someone I kind of feel good about, her being in my life. So Kylie Minogue.
Who's next? Who follows Kylie Minogue?
Your chance.
My God,
your turn.
Honestly, if you ask me, I'll end up saying non-queer people who I find... Because I tend to do that a lot sometimes and I get irritated then because we're an LGBTQI podcast. But I remember for me growing up, there were two shows which my mom used to first of all play at a time when my mom's in the kitchen in the evening cooking dinner and she would just leave it on and I was acting like I'm studying but I would watch them. And one was Roseanne. So I can't believe I'm about to say one of them is Roseanne Barr because I might get cancelled because Roseanne Barr has been cancelled. But I, for the first time again, the second show was Golden Girls, of course. I don't know who to call an icon in these two productions because, obviously in Roseanne, it was Roseanne because she was the writer, she was the lead of the show and everything. It was amazing for representation. Again, like Roseanne literally came at a time when you were like, American sitcoms are saturated with this Full House type of like, formulaic,
generic,
small family unit. The kids do something and then the parents give them like the episode ends with kind of a how to raise your kids and all of that. And then Roseanne comes about this super fat, super large like American family. And I like how I said fat first, then I said large. I should have gone the other way around. But when you see interviews about Roseanne, they were like, hey, no, we wanted that. We did not want these candy floss families who are like super sweet and super nice. We wanted like, what is it like to be an American family, a middle class family? I won't even say American because it's a universal appeal kind of show. But a middle class, struggling parents trying to put food on the table, family where there are kids and kids fuck up and we fuck up and how.
So who would you call the icon there? Like, would you call Roseanne?
Because over the season, she did a lot of like, her daughter is experimenting with her sexuality. Her sister starts dating a gay man without knowing, and none of it was caricaturish. I just felt like, had I not seen those as a kid, it was so accepting in the show that I immediately knew that no, there are people who kind of, not that I was struggling on a personal level where, I can't show and I'm gay and, I wasn't going through that. But it instantly gave me a feeling that, hey, this is spoken about, that there is nothing wrong with being gay and they are just like any other people. So that was one. And Golden Girls, again, apart from like having characters that were queer over the years.
All of the actors, all the women, they are they're Betty White. I mean, legend.
Yeah. I read the most randomest like little quip about Betty White yesterday, where actually I'm not remembering it correctly, but long story short, where she gave a black singer some space to sing on a show, and then how much flack she received. This is in a time where if you gave a black, I'm not remembering this correctly, so forgive me, but how she fought back on things like that. And then again, when you watch a show like Golden Girls, where not only is there representation, but the kind of representation we don't see even happening now and we complain about so many times on this podcast, they were doing it in the 70s and it's still relevant. I still watch these shows and I'm like, amazing. If these shows were not there, there's some kind of hand-holding that happened for me. So I really feel like they deserve icon status for like just for being on networks like NBC and all of that and doing things that could have got them cancelled and into trouble and like their lives would be at stake, but they still went ahead and do it. Yeah. And Golden Girls is actually the Kylie Minogue of TV shows because it's not blatantly gay.
There
are gay characters.
It's coded.
There are gay characters, but the humor is so sassy for the 70s. Like, it's ridiculous. True. And honestly, I always say this, Golden Girls is my favorite show to watch while I'm traveling. If I'm on a flight, when I was recently flying up and down, I was watching Golden Girls and there were times that I was laughing out so loud that people were looking at, like there was this little 8-year-old beside me. She just was like, kept staring at me because I couldn't not burst out laughing. I know I was in a public space. I could have controlled. I couldn't. They were so funny. So yeah, all the women of Golden Girls and Roseanne.
All right. My next icon would be, okay, so I'll come back to cinema because when I started studying film in undergrad college, I was under the impression that if you make queer films, and I was in college between 2005 and 2008. So I was under this impression that if you make queer films, it's always going to be this indie film that has to be like really tragic. Under budget. No, not necessarily tragic, but under budget and really like, stripped bare. And it will make exactly that much money. So it's not meant to make money. Until I chanced upon this character called Pedro Almodovar, who started making these small films. But by the time...
For a second, I thought you were going to say Baz Luhrmann, but okay. I know you are a huge Baz Luhrmann fan.
I'm a huge Baz Luhrmann fan, but when you see Talk to Her, when you see All About My Todo Sobre Mi Madre, these films are massive hits, like bigger than big hits
commercial
for the
successes. Yeah.
But they are so complex. They are so deeply complex in terms of how it's written and so innately queer that it finally gave me this idea that you can make a queer film, you can be a queer director and still have that kind of commercial success. Sure.
Wow, I did not know Pedro Almodovar was queer. I did not know that.
What?
I did not know that.
Oh my God, yeah.
Again, I've just cared about the movies. I've not actually read up anything about him or anything. But yeah, this is the first time I'm hearing of him.
So the film that his last film with Antonio Banderas, which got him the nomination for Best Actor.
The horror film?
No, not Skin I Live In.
Okay.
2 years back, Antonio Banderas got an Oscar nomination for that role, forgetting the name. It's his autobiography almost. It's like, yeah, so yeah, Pedro Almodovar, because complexity, talent, and financial, commercial success, not financial, commercial success, all coming together and having such a distinct visual style, that this stab of colors that he uses, and I'm like this, in case people haven't noticed, I absolutely love strong colors. So I was like, this person has made it to the point where they have their signature and they have the success, and have a queer director who I can call an auteur is just, I was so happy. So Pedro Almodovar.
Amazing. I'm trying to think of, because I'm assuming we also need to think of some Indian.
Yeah.
Why don't you go? I will come
Okay, so first and foremost, Sridevi.
Sarojini Naidu.
Sure, but Sridevi. And for nothing that she's done, but I think what she represents, the reverence that she holds to the queer community for the kind, again, it's very Golden Girls-ish. The sass in terms of the characters, the body positivity, thunder thighs, but still like so sexy. The fiery sort of, attitude, all of them put together. I couldn't think of, I think Madhuri Dixit was possible because Madhuri Dixit could run because Sridevi walked, So again, Madhuri Dixit is also for me like a queer icon, because of a lot of roles that she's taken on. But Sridevi and Madhuri Dixit, I would say, in the Indian milieu, in the Bollywood milieu. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking of such that. No, I can't think of anyone. I'm at least trying to think of someone who would have helped me inch towards my sexuality in some way or added to it. I can think of your usual run-of-the-mill like Meera Nair and Deepa Mehta's and all. Not that, they did something extravagant, but I literally can't think of anybody who's influenced me that much in the Indian diaspora. Am I missing out?
Not really. Also because there hasn't been that much queer representation in the Indian milieu, but
I'm trying to think of there must be some poet, there must be some someone, right? I know I'm forgetting his name. There's a very brief point where there's a Parsi, very old, he looks like Gandalf the Grey, a Parsi man who published a lot of poetry in the 70s and 80s. I'm really forgetting his name now, and I remember reading a lot of his stuff.
Oshang Merchant?
Yeah. Yes, Oshang Merchant. And again, a lot of his interviews are on YouTube. Flamboyant, elegant, you name it, all of it. And again, it's just, I've not actively read his work. Yeah, but I do remember seeing his interviews very recently. I just stumbled upon somehow and I had no idea he existed. I read a few of his poems online and stuff. I was like, okay, again, there has to be, because by then you had decided that we are going to talk about this week. And I was like, somewhere I want to, but I won't do it justice because I've not read his work so much. But those 1-2 poems were enough to make me question that, wow, there has to be someone in the 70s and 80s in India who was doing stuff that we can, apart from your divas, you know what I mean? Apart from because my first thoughts were even Sridevi and Madhuri Dixit. And it's not like I was enamored the way I was enamored by Madonna and Kylie Minogue and all of them, I just felt like, okay. Once I started going to gay clubs and where they played Bollywood music and a Hawaii would come on and I would understand the power of Sridevi back then.
Yeah. But I do feel like there's a lot of... It's okay. Sorry.
You think Karanjor somewhere, if he's listening to this episode, is like, why didn't they take my name?
My name.
Why didn't they take my name?
But I have to say, Sanjay Leela Bansali, his films.
I know his films are a hit with the gays for sure.
Yes, like there's this flamboyance, this like OTT-ness, which I think stems from a queer sensibility somewhere. So
I have still, apart from Black, maybe, I still have to see a Sanjay Leela Bansali film where I'm like, oh, this guy's such a great director.
Oh yeah,
oh, this is such a great film.
I like most of his films because I like Baz Luhrmann, so he's like the indie version of Baz Luhrmann. So
I get it. The sets and the design and the clothing, and the opulence.
So I'm not looking for nuance when it comes to
Sanjay Leela Bansali. It's just sometimes, again, you can't help but question if something is beyond a certain level of popularity.
Yeah.
For example, Imtiaz Ali. What is what? Like, recently my boss.
So I mean, the kind of rabid fan base he has, sure. But I don't want to make it an episode about people who are not queer icons. But in short, I do like that tenor of writing that he does. Sure, there are misses, but there are films that I have absolutely loved.
Yeah.
So.
But Indian, I can't think of. Do you have more than one? Apart from Madhuri and Sridevi? I know you're a big Rituparna Ghosh fan also.
Yes, actually. So Rituparna Ghosh, so the queerness in his films started emerging a little later when he was transitioning, and I don't know whether by the end there was no concept of pronouns, and so I'll just refer to them as they. But when they were transitioning, that's when their films got how do I put it?
Like
on
the map.
Very, very no. Very.
Was Rituparna Ghosh who made that movie where it's raining and Aishwarya Rai?
Yes, Raincoat.
Raincoat.
Yeah.
Of course.
I remember.
I remember watching that movie and really loving it.
Post Raincoat was where they kind of started transitioning, and a lot of the films kind of had not necessarily queer characters, but a queer emotion, the twang of intensity that queer emotions always bring with it. And of course, I've spoken about Chitrangada. I've spoken about those are films that they directed later on, and those were very like squarely queer. But Rituparna Ghosh, of course, and I think if there's one person who I would have said had the mantle of Satyajit Ray waiting to be taken on, that was Rituparna Ghosh. But I think they took it on in any case, but cut short very early, unfortunately. Yeah. So.
Wow. Yeah. I can quickly think of, because we started with pop icons in a way. Yeah. I literally, maybe I'm too uncle-y now. And sometimes, you have to understand, I actively listen to a lot of music on a daily basis. Yeah. If you check my playlist on YouTube and stuff, I'm easily 5 songs a day is my personal goal, where I feel if that doesn't happen, I feel a little unsettled, that aaj maine music nahi suna. And sometimes I can't help but feel very angry that as only the popular, you have your Bayhive and you have your Swifties and you have and people don't look at what's really happening in music in so many ways. Anything that's mainstream, even if it's Lil'Nas, for example, if it's in your face, it's there all the time, then it shows up. But I feel like so much is happening in music. So I want to name 2 artists who I feel are iconic and will definitely be looked at in the next 20 years. People will know that they existed and they did so much great stuff. But one is called Shun, Ssion. Easily one of my favorite musicians in the last decade, if not the most. Right from his videos to his styling, to his music, to his lyrics, to everything, I'm the biggest fan. I remember shoving him down everyone's throat, everybody rejecting it, and I'm like, you know what? You don't know what high art is or high gay is. He has a song about barebacking in a park, let's start there, called Street Jizz. And the entire song is about how much he loves come up his butt in a park. And again, without it being those being the lyrics, but pretty much on the nose. Amazing. The song's called Love Bazaar and beautiful. Like, just about like, what is it like? We live in a love bazaar now, where everybody's looking for love. It's like a fucking market, but nobody's finding anything. Beautiful. Second, Perfume Genius.
Oh.
Iconic. And for one of the main reasons I'm mentioning Perfume Genius in this conversation is because he's not your run-of-the-mill pop beat, feel a bit of your hip moving kind of music. He's in fact more into grunge.
Yeah. He's not a comfortable listen. He's
operatic rock. Very like, it's a new genre, I'd say. Also a little tidbit, but a lot of Perfume Genius's music videos are directed by Sean, by the way. So they both like are absolutely. Also, if you watch Short Bus, I don't know how they identify Satay, but very popular. Always around in a lot of cool gay movies. I've seen this character, and they are there in a lot of Shun videos, whatever. But Shun and Perfume Genius, I felt like if I had Shun and Perfume Genius, if I was growing up, like if I was a teenager, I would have not only come to terms with my sexuality within under like 6 months, I would have not given a shit about what anyone says. And I really find that, because it's so, look, we do the show and we talk about like, conversions are banned, and coming out is still a difficult topic to talk about. And sometimes it's alien to me that how is this still a problem? How, I'm like, well, I'm Ghadi, that Judge Judy, do you watch Judge Judy?
Yeah.
Who is an icon.
Who is a fucking queer icon.
Whenever I see that gif where she's like, time is up, I'm like, how are people still stuck in this gender, and how are we still facing issues from, how is it not normalized? I feel if Shun and Perfume Genius existed in the 60s. By the way, Perfume Genius and David Bowie could be synonymous. Very similar style, music, you name it. So those two, I would be, what's the word? Remiss? I would be remiss? What's the word? I forgot. I would be amiss? Fuck it. I would feel sad if I had not mentioned these two names in my personal icons and modern today's icons in music, at least, list.
Yeah. So I'm not going to take names. I'm not going to mention Lady Gaga because like she's an obvious choice. I absolutely love Gaga. I love what Gaga's done again for the community in actual.
What's your pet's name, Sunetro?
Yeah. So my pet's name is Gaga. So I'm not going to mention Gaga. But then another very obvious but not so obvious choice would be Freddie Mercury. Just the life he lived, the music. I mean, again, he was living his life out there, and he was letting his music and his music videos tell people that shove it up your butt, And it's just the audacity of his art was absolutely commendable, and like it can make people uncomfortable even today.
No, and but also to be catering to an audience that's not predominantly gay,
yes,
like not that Madonna and Kylie Minogue in the 80s are like, how do I make my music more for gay boys, right?
Also, think about the genre.
Yeah.
It was a hyper masculine genre that he just
I want
came
to break free.
Yeah, and then
the music video.
And he came and just said, I'm gonna fuck this shit up.
Yeah.
And it just makes me so happy to see these heteronormative sort of genres being broken open.
And to create an iconic song like Bohemian Rhapsody.
I mean, I have it tattooed on me. Like, I love...
Shut up.
I have... Yeah. So, I have it tattooed... So, I have tattooed the word Bohemian Rhapsody tattooed in Elvish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not Beelzebub.
No.
Okay.
So, like Tengwar, which is the Elvish script.
Yeah.
So, it's translated and it's on my back.
No, but like, I can just imagine being a dude bro in the 80s, I think, is when Bohemian Rhapsody came out. And or 70s actually.
Late
And
70s.
no, but just imagine where you have an idea of how to prosecute and persecute gays, and suddenly this not metal, but rock band creates this song that you cannot ignore.
Yeah.
Okay, is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And the lead singer is gay. Deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, like you enjoyed this. No, the idea of, I don't know if he did it intentionally, but I hope Freddie Mercury knows that that's his genius also, where he lived his sexuality and he put it in a domain that constantly would have rejected him in so many ways, but he gave them such high art that they cannot refuse that he exists, you know, that they cannot like undo his existence. And I guess that's why so many conversations, not only ours, but so many larger life conversations end with creating art, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where true like transformation happens for not only the artist, but the person viewing it. I feel like I was getting pseudo deep there.
It's also important not to forget Elton John.
Of course.
Similar, I mean, way more flamboyant than anyone at that time, and to put himself out there and be so unapologetically out there.
It's been 2 months, but this new Dua Lipa Elton John remix it's my most heard song in the last 2 months. And I found amazing indie music.
Yeah.
But I'm constantly, even when I was in Gurgaon, you're constantly bopping this fucking Elton John Dua Lipa song. And so much so that I actually did not care about Dua Lipa before this song. And somehow, because I heard it so much, my YouTube kept recommending Dua Lipa. And now I love Dua Lipa. After all,
I like Dua Lipa,
Yeah, but like now I'm like, wow, levitating and this and that and amazing. Like, what great tracks. And of course, I'd heard all of them in terms of like TikToks and Reels, because her music is so popular on these TikToks and Reels and all of that. But now I actively listen to her music only because of this Elton John song. So good.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Any icons that you feel deserve lesser attention? Like they get a lot of undue attention. They haven't done enough. I feel Beyonce. I'm gonna say it. See,
I don't think Beyonce does much for the community.
She's
community,
not. But I mean, she like supports the community, but then she's not like a Gaga who's out there, like in the trenches. Like
so much of her music is about empowerment, right? Whether it's about women or like Black lives or in some way, her music is aimed towards, whether it's right from her Destiny's Child Day, like Survivor, and you name it, right? Like all of her music is about taking control of your life.
It's not specific, but it's
so if it speaks to a gay boy who's growing up on Beyonce, and like I get it, but I do sometimes feel like
FYI, I love Beyonce. I absolutely love Beyonce, but
I'm crazy about her productions.
Oh my God. Black is King. Black is King is a masterpiece.
I even saw, what was the little Netflix, this Black is King on the
Hotstar. Disney.
No. Her documentary, that's also called Black is King? Or her album is called Black is King?
The visual album that you're talking about? The Lion King one?
No. Fuck it. I know she had done something and my straight friend was dying to watch it and he made me watch this show on Netflix. It was like a 2-hour Super Bowl type performance of Beyonce.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it was huge and trending back then. And I was like, okay, too many drums, calm down. I get where you're coming from. Like, I get the music is about empowerment and all, but sometimes she is touted as like, but also she does the obvious, right? Sometimes you come out with a song with Lady Gaga. She did that,
true.
Like, so it's tough to like fall for those kind of.
Oh, I forgot. I totally forgot.
Can I say it? I'm gonna get killed. I won't be alive if I.
Are you gonna say RuPaul? Because I was about to say RuPaul deserves to be on the list. For the amount.
Okay, now I want to say RuPaul. I wasn't going to say RuPaul, but I was like, if your question is who doesn't. No. But obviously. Personal opinion. One second. My personal opinions aside about RuPaul, I understand what RuPaul has done and it's untouched. Like nobody as today when I see like fucking RuPaul Fiji or RuPaul Manila, I don't know how many they're going to come out with franchises.
You are looking at Drag Race today, but the kind of stuff RuPaul's gone through. RuPaul was turning a corner on the streets in the 90s and the 80s in drag. And then he was... It's amazing the kind of journey he's had. Like, it's, I mean, to make drag, something like drag, so mainstream that it's not even a thing of a second thought, worth giving a second thought when a man puts on makeup. I can't not credit a person
which
who's
is why I'm not
that.
going to say that, oh, we need to, because again, the nature of your question was such, I couldn't help but like once you said RuPaul, instantly my brain went, yes. But that's only because of my limitations of understanding the awesomeness of whatever RuPaul's Drag Race is, even though I've seen seasons of it.
Yeah. Like but who deserves less fanfare?
Taylor Swift.
I wouldn't disagree.
We are not going to survive.
So here's the thing.
Die horrible gay deaths.
I just want to put it out there. I don't like Taylor Swift's music. And of course, there are bops.
So I'm like, should we get this edited? We can't say this.
But here's the thing. I have a lot of respect for that girl. I have tons of respect for what she's achieved for herself. Also, in her own ways, she's a feminist in so many ways. In so many fucking ways. But queer icon, I wouldn't go there.
But first of all, am I wrong to assume that she's a queer icon? She is, right?
So she's considered, I mean, she's also become very vocal. She has...
In the last 1 year...
So here's the thing. Whenever a pop star sort of, figures that there is the key demographic when it comes to her fans comprises the queers, they obviously make sure that they pander to the queers. Yeah. So I've seen that change. I've seen that sort of evolution, I would say. But again, I wouldn't say it's all for sure a show again, because there's a lot of charity, lot of, again, working in the trenches that Taylor Swift does for the community. But at the same time, I don't find her music and her art
that's
very representative of the community.
I have to specify that. Look, we just spoke about Freddie Mercury, right? Who elevated, who took his sexuality, his experience, knowingly and unknowingly, in so many ways, like changed the course for so many of us, right? Through their art. I'm like, right now, if it seems like I'm dissing on Taylor Swift, it's only because
we have...
Hey, her album is it's okay. First of all, I have to say though, she has a song called August on this album. And it's one of my favorite songs in the last 2-3 months. I've been listening to it all the time. But the number of friends I have who are obsessed with this album, listen to it 5,000 times, make 20,000 stories about it on a daily basis, have tried to shove it down my throat. And I'm one of those people. If something's very popular and I don't get it, I actually try to get it. Yeah. I do. I'm very good. I'm good. I feel like I'm subjectively trying to watch something. Like I've done that with RuPaul. I did that so many times. I tried. And then when the pandemic happened, I saw 6 seasons of it and understood the appeal, watched it for that appeal.
It's not for you. It's as simple as that. It's fine.
But if you ask me, is it for me? It's not. I watched it. It's good even, but no. Taylor Swift, I just don't get this. And fuck, amazing. Shake It Off, Your Blank Space.
Sure,
great fucking
she has
songs.
Bops, but then to Katy Perry also has bops. So, but I can't say just because you have bops, you're a queer icon. So I agree, Taylor Swift.
Great. We've just lost about 3,000 listeners on our show. I hope you know what
But we like her. We respect her.
We are okay with her, but she can't sit with us.
Yeah.
No, like what the hell?
Okay, enough Taylor Swift. My God. We are like the one person who deserves less credit. We are like dedicated like half an episode to her.
I feel like I'm so sorry I said that. I feel horrible. I said
okay,
that.
Relax.
I feel it.
Any more?
No. Because see, again, the obvious icons we've done a mix, right? Madonna is the obvious icon. Gaga. I really wish you would have spoken more about Gaga though, because
I mean, there will be episodes. There
Hello,
will be
Lady
episodes.
Gaga, what's your music? I would have said the same thing I said about Taylor Swift. But
okay, I will fight you on that. That I will fight you on. Because maybe you're talking about like one album here or there. But if you look at Born This Way,
amazing.
The words,
amazing.
Amazing. It's
amazing.
poetry.
I agree.
It's fucking poetry. If you look at Fame Monster, it's fucking poetry. Like
Born This Way, I agree. Edge of Glory, oh my God.
One of the best songs
all of it.
ever. Yeah.
I get the paparazzi and I get the telephone and I get the appeal. But first of all, we both are Tarsem Singh fans, and when the last album, I was like, Lady Gaga and Tarsem Singh are coming.
Yeah, that was not that. Like, I do love the song though. 911, I do love the song though.
That whole album, you cannot tell me 2 minutes. This is my opinion. Yeah. Please do not kill me. But I cannot find a cohesive 2 minutes where I can be like, this is such good music. I'm going to be that critical.
911 is my morning,
in fact, I'll tell you this much. I think Lady Gaga is a fantastic actress. I think she's a great actress. When I saw Star is Born, yeah. I was constantly blown away throughout the movie. Wow, she's such a natural, great fucking actor. Great songs, agreed. Yeah. And also I kept going like, what's the lead's name? What's the actor?
Bradley Cooper.
I was like, wow, Bradley Cooper is a great singer. Lady Gaga is a great actress. Bradley Cooper is a great singer. I remember doing that throughout the movie. But you give me all this art pop and this Rain on Me.
Okay.
Rain on Me.
Art pop, again, I will fight you on that. I mean, there are such amazing... I want you to go and revisit the songs. Not all songs. But
this is what every Taylor Swift friend of mine does to me. You have to revisit, listen to it 4 or 5 times, then suddenly you will love it.
Just the song, what's written. That's about it. So there are either the song's tune has to be sticky as fuck, or the song has to be written in a way that it just like rains poetry on me. For me, Gaga always gives me either of the two. Not the recent album, not the latest album, not Chromatica, and not Joanne. But art pop for me is, Joanne was just like Kuch Bhi.
But Joanne had that Million Reasons song, right?
Yes, yeah.
What a song.
That's a nice song. But for me, art pop had incredible examples of those. But anyway, so I mean, we shall not get into a Gaga controversy over here after a Taylor Swift controversy. It's like homophobia happening here.
I can just imagine. After this podcast is done, I go to my kitchen to cook something, and suddenly I feel a sting in my neck, and it's a dart. And actually, I collapse, and then I wake up in a fucking torture room.
From Swift with Love.
In some Squid Game type island, I wake up. Where all other people who have dissed Taylor Swift and Lady Gaga have to battle it out now to fucking survive. We'll be killed.
All right. Okay, so that's about it in terms of our recommendations.
What about Lata Mangeshkar?
Asha Bhosle is a queer icon. She is a queer icon.
Must. Wow, I'm glad I cracked the joke and it came to Asha Bhosle, because what the fuck is Lata Mangeshkar? But fuck that. Asha Bhosle is timeless.
And if you've seen Asha Bhosle's performances live, I mean, I'm not saying like you have to be live, but like, or even on even on television.
Yeah.
Her humor is so queer, like so sarcastic and sassy. She makes fun of Lata Mangeshkar so much.
She tweets, by the way. She still tweets, and she's a funny tweeter.
She is incredible.
No, but if you see her songs, right, they're the sassy Javani, Jane Ban, Parveen Babi, basically the Parveen Babi hits and Tam Maro Tam.
The sassy ones, the cool ones.
They were the. I think I also feel. Maybe I'm so glad we suddenly stumbled upon Asha Bhosle in this conversation, because I feel like the birth of item songs happened somewhere after, once color films had started, and your 70s, where there were like your Bappi Lahiri and your R.D. Burman, who were making very cool new music, like they were experimenting with synth and all. So somehow that gave birth to like item songs, and somehow Lata Mangeshkar was the bhajans and
Yeah, yeah.
Nairoji cried and
and the
patriotic.
love songs and stuff.
And
But
Asha Bhosle hopped on that train.
Yeah. And Usha Uthup. Oh my God.
Of course.
Oh my
Absolutely.
God. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, like we have enough queer icons in
Deep
India.
love,
For
deep
sure.
love. Asha Bhosle, love you. Also very random thing, but I walked in on my mom. Okay, that sounds wrong. I walked in on my mom, but I went over to my folks.
Complete that sentence.
My mom was watching a movie that had Asha Bhosle in it.
As an actor.
And I Googled this later, and it's the only movie she's ever starred in. It's like 6-7 years ago. It's called Ai. Okay, it's a Marathi film. And Asha Bhosle plays an Alzheimer's patient in it. Her daughter is Padmini Kolhapure. And basically, it's a little, of course, it's not the best film. It's your kids like Bagban formula, which is where a parent has dementia. But I was so surprised by how good Asha Bhosle was in it. And that this is the first time and the last time she acted in a film.
Yeah.
And she decided to play an Alzheimer's patient. It was amazing. And because, Asha Bhosle has this beautiful sari, whatever, there are scenes in that movie where she's not decked up and she's in like those maxis or whatever you call them, like nighty, like Indian auntie nightgowns. And it was very like hard to watch her like that. It was great. So well done, Asha Bhosle.
Asha Bhosle. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it from us. That's a wrap on all the queer icons that we could think of. Why don't you guys message and tell us if we missed some people out? And
we are not going to get messages ever. Everybody's abandoned us after that.
Fuck that. It's okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. We'll be back with our recommendation section right after this.
Do you like true crime stories?
Do you like to learn about the people behind some horrible, awful crimes?
More specifically, women that may have committed these crimes.
Actually, Indian criminals that are women?
Then we'd like to welcome you to our podcast, Misconduct. My name is Raghavi.
And I am Nisha.
We cover themes like murder, dacoity, drug trafficking, financial fraud, kidnapping, and many more.
You can catch us every Wednesday on the IVM Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcast.
All right. So, Farhad, what's your recommendation?
My recommendation is something I might have recommended before, but because we are not sure, I'm going to recommend it again. Pen 15 is how the logo of the show is, but it's actually penis. It's torrentable. It's on Hulu. And oh my God, it's so... First of all, it's set in 1999. Okay, and if you are at the age me and Sridevi are at, it was a great time. Pre-World World Trade Center's life was amazing, and it's about two girlfriends in high school, and it's such a bizarre show because the protagonists are both girls, and they both are 30 plus, but they play high school girls in the film, and what they've done is the rest of the cast they've kept as high school kids who are actually high school aged. So it's kind of very unnerving to watch these two adult girls playing, and in very like sexual situations. It's a little unnerving, but it's not problematic ever. But I feel like, because if you are a fan of chick flicks, especially Romy and Michelle's High School Reunion, one of my all-time favorite films.
That is like queer pop culture.
No, and I can't help but every time I'm watching Pen 15, every 5 minutes I think of Romy and Michelle. It's like, oh my God, this moment is so Romy and Michelle. Oh my God, this moment is so Romy and Michelle.
You were speaking about Romy and Michelle. I totally forgot Alan Cumming, but then I think we'll have another episode with suggestions. But please continue.
No, but it is such a, even though it's set in the 90s, it is such a modern, funny, coming of age show. Pen 15, blindly watch it. Great soundtrack, great acting, great everything. But also, I was so surprised yesterday. I was watching all these Emmy snips from the Emmys and all of that. And when Helen Mirren said that her favorite show is Pen 15, I was like, okay, now it's gold standard, because Helen Mirren watches Pen 15, which is like a show produced, by the way, by Andy Samberg from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So it's so random that she's watching this very cool little indie show. Pen 15, blindly watch it. You'll thank me for it. It's so good.
So fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. My recommendation, as I was talking about, is this is the first time I'm going to make a travel recommendation. So, all Mumbaiites, if you have a pet, there's this place called Tooth Mountain Farms, which is 2.5 hours away from Bombay. It's in
Tooth, like train. Tooth. Tooth Mountain.
Tooth Mountain. There is this.
Wow.
There is a Tooth Mountain over there. So, and it
sounds like the location of Hills Have Eyes, but okay, Tooth Mountain.
So it's like 2.5 hours from Bombay. It's in the Hatnoli district, like Karjat, basically. And it's basically an expanse of greens and farms, and you can let your dog just run free. So Gaga, my dog Gaga, had like this a Gaga time. She had an autumn fling with this the resident dog whose name is Lockdown. Because he was adopted during the lockdown. So a lockdown used to come to our cottage So every morning, Lockdown would wait in front of our cottage to get just one glimpse of Gaga, and Gaga would just be like, "Okay, I'm going to give you 10 minutes, and then I shall leave, and you go do your own thing." So I was "Fuck, no." Please.
Sorry, I just when you said fling, I was like, "What?"
No, she finds. So anyway, so it's like this expansive green. There's like a huge lake where full of like ducks and geese, and you can go kayaking there, and it's just like a retreat into nature and so the food's farm to table mostly, whatever way. So I ended up having more vegetables than anything else over there because the produce was so good and fresh. So if I had everything's in, like they have some pasta options and stuff, very limited menu because it's a small place. Like the kitchen's it's not like a restaurant kitchen, but amazing food, amazing taste. Like the bhindi tastes like bhindi, not like some dried up shit that you have in Bombay. The palak is like bright green, not dark green like you get in Bombay. So and they get the vegetables from the farms. So
sorry, but I'm a little confused. The name of the place you stayed is Tooth Mountain, or the area?
So there is a hill that apparently is called Tooth Mountain.
Okay.
It's a hill that's called Tooth Mountain. That's what the guys from the place said. But the property is called Tooth Mountain Farms.
Sweet.
So so it's like a farmhouse sort of a thing. They have like four cottages and that's it. So at any point of time you have to book advance. Yeah, of course. And at any point of time you won't have too many people around you. So
amazing. Best.
So it's like best. So firstly I could let my dog just run unleashed, and that was amazing. She didn't need to wear shoes, so that was amazing.
And I'm assuming this is the first time
like yes, and like smelling grass, digging, like, and I was like, let her do that, like let her be a dog. And just at night, 12 o'clock, just I got to swim after 2 years, so it was so good. Just like the sound of cicadas and like being in the pool and just relaxing. Really, really nice place. So Tooth Mountain Farms, please, anyone who's looking to travel for a getaway from Bombay, check it out. It's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. So yes, that's it for this week, and we shall be back next week.
As always, like Jesus Christ. Oh my God, I've been watching Midnight Mass. That's why I said that.
I haven't yet started. This is my weekend is going to be my binge. So
have fun.
All right. Okay.
All right. I'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Thank
Always
you so
great
much.
talking to you.
Srinidro, you're my gay icon.
I always love having a conversation with you, and it always cheers me up. So yeah, thank you so much.
Bye.
Working Monday to Friday glued to your chair making you feel dull? Worry not. Get your 5-minute weekly dose of travel around the world with postcards from nowhere. Join me every Thursday as I explore the strange, obscure, and fascinating parts of the world and bring out facets of travel you may not have thought of before. You can find us on the IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you get your podcast from.
Habits, routines, How exactly do they help us get better? Well, to simplify it for you, tune in to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashton Doctor, and I'm going to be here to help you get better daily with some simple, easy to do habits that you can easily adapt to your life. So tune in to the Habit Coach podcast from Monday to Friday, because I believe that awesome lives start with awesome habits.